Nuclear bombs are among the most devastating weapons ever developed by humanity. They derive their destructive power from nuclear reactions, either fission or a combination of fission and fusion. These weapons have not only changed the course of military strategy, but have also influenced global politics, diplomacy, and security in profound ways. This essay explores the origins, mechanisms, effects, ethical dilemmas, and ongoing relevance of nuclear bombs in contemporary times. Origins and development of nuclear bombs. The development of nuclear bombs traces back to the early 20th century when scientists discovered the principles of nuclear fission. In 1938, German scientists Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann demonstrated that splitting the nucleus of a uranium atom released a tremendous amount of energy. This discovery was further studied by physicists like Lise Meitner and Enrico Fermi, who explored its implications. The political landscape of World War II expedited the development of nuclear weapons. Fearing that Nazi Germany might develop such a weapon first, the United States initiated the Manhattan Project in 1942. Led by J. Robert Oppenheimer, this massive scientific endeavor brought together some of the world's greatest minds, including Albert Einstein and Niels Bohr. The project culminated in the testing of the first nuclear bomb, codenamed Trinity, on July 16, 1945, in the New Mexico desert. Mechanisms of nuclear bombs. Nuclear bombs function through two primary reactions: fission and fusion. Fission bombs, atomic bombs. These weapons rely on the splitting of heavy atomic nuclei, such as uranium-235 or plutonium-239. When the nucleus of these atoms splits, it releases an enormous amount of energy, as well as neutrons that trigger a chain reaction. The bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945, named Little Boy and Fat Man respectively, were fission-based. Fusion bombs, thermonuclear, or hydrogen bombs. Fusion bombs are significantly more powerful than fission bombs. They utilize nuclear fusion, the process of combining light nuclei like hydrogen isotopes, deuterium and tritium, under extreme heat and pressure to form helium. The fusion reaction is typically triggered by a fission bomb, acting as a detonator. The first thermonuclear bomb, known as Ivy Mike, was tested by the United States in 1952. Effects of nuclear bombs. The detonation of a nuclear bomb results in catastrophic effects, including immediate blast. The initial explosion produces a shockwave that can level buildings, infrastructure, and entire cities within a radius of several kilometers. The blast pressure and heat vaporize materials near the epicenter. Thermal radiation. The intense heat from a nuclear detonation can cause severe burns and ignite fires over vast areas. Temperatures can reach millions of degrees near the blast center. Radioactive fallout. A nuclear explosion releases radioactive particles into the atmosphere, which can spread over hundreds or thousands of kilometers. These particles pose long-term health risks, including cancer and genetic damage. Electromagnetic pulse, EMP. High-altitude nuclear explosions can produce EMPs, which disrupt electronic systems and power grids over a wide area. Environmental impact. Nuclear explosions have devastating ecological effects, including soil contamination, water pollution, and atmospheric disturbances. A large-scale nuclear war could trigger a nuclear winter, where soot and debris block sunlight, leading to global cooling and crop failures. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Lessons from history. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki remain the only instances of nuclear weapons being used in warfare. On August 6, 1945, the U.S. dropped Little Boy on Hiroshima, killing an estimated 140,000 people by the end of the year. 3 days later, Fat Man was dropped on Nagasaki, causing around 70,000 fatalities. These bombings hastened Japan's surrender and ended World War II, but at an immense human and ethical cost. The survivors, known as hibakusha, suffered lifelong health issues, including radiation sickness, cancer, and psychological trauma. The bombings ignited global debates about the morality of using such weapons, the Cold War, and the nuclear arms race. The development of nuclear weapons did not end with World War II. Instead, it marked the beginning of a nuclear arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Both superpowers stockpiled thousands of nuclear warheads, leading to a precarious balance of power known as mutual assured destruction, MAD. The logic behind MAD was that the threat of total annihilation would deter either side from initiating a nuclear conflict. In addition to the US and Soviet Union, other nations developed nuclear weapons, including the United Kingdom, France, and China. This proliferation raised concerns about the risks of accidental detonations, unauthorized launches, and theft by non-state actors. Nuclear non-proliferation and disarmament efforts. To address the dangers of nuclear weapons, the international community has taken steps toward non-proliferation and disarmament. Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, NPT. Signed in 1968, the NPT aims to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and promote peaceful uses of nuclear energy. It also calls for gradual disarmament by nuclear-armed states. Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, CTBT. Adopted in 1996, the CTBT prohibits all nuclear test explosions. However, it has not entered into force due to the lack of ratification by key states, including the US and China. Strategic Arms Reduction Treaties, START. Bilateral agreements between the US and Russia have reduced the number of deployed nuclear warheads and delivery systems. Ban Treaty. In 2017, the United Nations adopted the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, which outright bans the development, possession, and use of nuclear weapons. However, none of the nuclear-armed states have joined this treaty. Contemporary challenges. Despite efforts to control nuclear weapons, significant challenges remain. Nuclear proliferation. Countries like North Korea and Iran have pursued nuclear programs, raising regional and global security concerns. Non-state actors could also acquire nuclear materials for terrorism. Modernization of arsenals. Nuclear-armed states continue to modernize their arsenals, undermining disarmament goals. Advanced technologies, such as hypersonic missiles and artificial intelligence, could exacerbate nuclear risks. Geopolitical tensions. Rising tensions between major powers, such as the US, China, and Russia, have reignited fears of nuclear conflict. Regional disputes in South Asia, the Middle East, and the Korean Peninsula add to the complexity. The future of nuclear weapons. The future of nuclear weapons depends on the collective actions of nations and the will of humanity to prioritize peace over destruction. Technological advancements and international cooperation could enhance verification and enforcement of disarmament agreements. Public awareness and advocacy can also play a critical role in pressuring governments to reduce reliance on nuclear arms. While the threat of nuclear war remains a grim reality, the legacy of Hiroshima and Nagasaki serves as a poignant reminder of the need to work toward a world free from the shadow of nuclear weapons. Nuclear bombs epitomize both the pinnacle of scientific achievement and the depths of human destructiveness. Their history and the effects underscore the urgency of addressing the moral, political, and security dilemmas they pose. As we navigate an increasingly interconnected and volatile world, the question of whether to retain or abolish these weapons remains one of the most pressing issues of our time.